This is Anime Ricochet. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anime Ricochet, the premier anime podcast of the Nerd Blaze. My name is Jeff, and I'm here with my number one tall friend, Jacoby.
I'm your number one tall friend?
Yeah.
What about Stefan? I thought he was pretty tall.
Stefan does not exist.
Oh.
Thanks for trying.
That must be my imagination then. Thanks for trying. You just shut me down right away. Okay, I see how it is.
No, you're
Jeff,
right. I should have
ruining my good time.
Yes, and
the rules.
Stefan does exist. He's number 2.
Okay,
See?
so that's good. I am the number one tall friend.
I can improv, motherfucker.
You're so good at improv. Yes, I'm Jacoby.
Yep.
I am co-hosting this podcast with my good friend Jeff. This Anime Ricochet. We're here to talk about a very special anime this week.
Yes, it is an anime chosen by Kobe. So this is all Kobe's fault.
Okay, so no, that's a bit of it wasn't like chosen by me. I didn't go out of my way to say, hey, we should watch this one. It was on our list, and I was like, yeah, let's give this one a try, because I hear it's kind of interesting.
A list made by you.
Yeah, I did make the list, but I was like, I forgot exactly what it was. I didn't know what I was getting into. Let's just say that.
I'm really curious. Well, first of all, I guess we should talk about what Keijo is, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what you expected.
Yes.
Anyway, so Keijo is an anime based off of a shonen manga of the same name.
With 8 exclamation marks. I think that's very important to get out of the way.
Keijo
has 8 exclamation marks because they're very excited about it.
And by the way, I'm sick for the podcast, so if I die in the middle of it, it's up to Kobe to continue.
I will lead you on this journey, listeners everywhere.
It's an anime based off of a shonen manga written by Daichi Sorayama and published by Shogakukan. Soriyomi, I think. Did I say it wrong earlier? Anyway, Soriyomi. I think he's like new to the scene. I think he hasn't really written much. He's responsible for Momi Bairashi, otherwise known as the Rubbing Away Master.
The Rubbing Away Master?
Yeah, this is a description from myanimelist.net.
Oh, I can't wait to hear
There
this.
are demons who prey on beautiful young women and possess them.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, there is a magic user roaming the city who can banish them, but he needs to make physical contact with the woman in question to banish the monster, specifically with their breasts. This is the story of this traveler and his witch companion. So,
okay, so
you can get a feel for what this guy likes to write about, basically.
Yes, he likes to write about it, but it seems like he likes to write about it in very serious terms, because Keijo itself, this is an anime about where there's this very popular sport that was legalized, where it's like, basically, it's a very easy to describe. Women in bathing suits fight each other to knock each other off platforms, but they can only use their boobs and their butts to knock one another off, and the last woman standing wins.
Yeah, it's a last man standing kind of sport, and it's girls in bikinis tossing their tits and ass at each other. So you can imagine, it lends itself to very overt fan service. And I wondered, I wonder if anyone actually attempted to make this a real thing. And there is a group of women in Portugal. I saw a video of it, and they were actually trying to sport Keijo, but they were wearing like protective guards and stuff on their hips and stuff. And let me tell you, it was really awkward to watch and not as fun at all. Not as fun at all to watch in the anime.
Did they use the vacuum butt cannon?
No.
Did any of them use that?
See, that's the thing. They didn't use any of their special moves.
See, that's it right there.
It's a fictional sport, not a real sport. This is a sports anime podcast, but we're already on episode 4 delving into a sport that doesn't actually exist.
I would say that doesn't matter if it doesn't exist or not. A sport is in the world that it inhabits. It is a sport. So this is classified specifically as a sports anime. And what I think is interesting about this anime is that it really follows the structure of any sports anime that you could imagine, any sports story. This is just so by the book, progression wise, of all the beats that you would classically see. I have a list of all the classic cliches that
nice,
that I'm excited to get into.
Okay, so you said that you didn't know what you were getting into with this anime. What did you expect? Because if you knew anything about the premise, I feel like you'd know what you're getting into.
I don't know. I knew that this was an anime about like where women have to use their breasts and their butt to knock each other off platforms, but I
Yes.
didn't expect them to be so serious. Like I would imagine, like an attempt at to try to make this as like legitimate as possible, but
Do
while
they?
still showing just yeah, I would say they do with
Oh
everything, but
man.
but they just make it so extreme with all
Well,
the boobs and the butt
it's
moves.
definitely. I mean, it's a comedic anime. I don't think it's serious at all, to be honest. It's very. I think everything in here is definitely played for laughs. Although I will say that, and I will get into this a little bit more later, but like for me personally, there was a level of suspension of disbelief where I was just accepting what was happening. Like I was just like, oh shit, she's doing her crazy ass butt cannon attack. This is gonna be crazy. But
Yeah.
instead,
Okay.
I wasn't laughing
Let me.
anymore. I was just like, oh god,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because let me reiterate. It's like I know it's a comedy. It's definitely played for laughs and played for humor. But what makes it like that is that the characters play this so seriously that everything is like life or death,
Mm,
and everything is shown without a hint of hey, this is kind of weird. Like hey,
yeah.
this is kind of out there and far out, and that's what makes it funny is that their seriousness
Mm,
and dedication to the sport.
okay. Yeah. So let's get into the characters then. And I guess we'll just go through I would say four main characters. Um, really, there's two, but there's like a team of four. So let's start with the main protagonist. Her name is Nozomi Kamanashi, and she is a energetic go-getter. She's very enthusiastic about the sport of Keijo, and her motivation for playing is basically to become the richest Keijo player ever and
Yeah,
become the prize queen. So, yep, pretty simple. That's it.
there's no real depth to her, I guess, as a
No.
character itself. I asked for like depth in an anime about where
Yeah.
women use their boobs and butts to hit each other, but it's
uh,
like you think her motivation would change after like 12 episodes or so, but no,
no.
she enters the match,
Mm-hmm.
she enters the this world wanting to be the richest Keijo player, um, and then that's how it ends. She still wants to be the
That's it.
richest and best Keijo player. She wants to be rich.
Yep.
Good for her.
So she's a former gymnast, and she uses her. That's like her thing. Every character in this anime has like a special power, special ability,
Yeah.
and her ability is that she's a gymnast, so she's very acrobatic, and she can use her flips and shit to basically charge up her special power, which is the vacuum butt cannon, which is what we were talking about earlier. And it's exactly what you think it is. Just think about it. It's that. It's the vacuum butt cannon. Very
It's the
powerful.
vacuum butt cannon. It blows her opponents
Yeah.
away with its raw power.
Yeah.
It's it's supposedly a very dangerous move for any Kaijo player to use because it has the potential to like damage
Yeah.
hips, and because you're twisting your pelvis into like really extreme methods to to convert rotational energy and use it into pure force.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she is determined to use it and master the move because she wants to be the richest and best Keijo player. So damn it, she's gonna do it.
Yep. And so there is a portion of the anime, of course, where she's training to be prepared to use it, and her progression, her skill progression, basically is parallel to that of this technique and how she improves it and how she gets better at it. Um,
Right.
yeah,
So as a main character, she's kind of boring. I don't really
yeah,
know. I don't really care about her as
she's
much. I care about
really your typical shonen anime protagonist. She's just a tenacious character with a special ability, uh, and she's likable, but there's really not much to her. Yeah.
yeah. I think this is a problem with like just the anime in general. It's like a critique of it.
Yep.
That all the characters at least start off. At least I'm interested at first, right? Like I'm interested to learn more about them.
Mm.
But then it just doesn't really do much with that. It kind of it stagnates in the sense where it's like I wish these characters were a little more well rounded and more
Mm.
in depth, but we don't get that. We get their very base level stuff for at least most of them.
Yeah, that's basically a theme of like my critique of the anime, I guess, is that this anime is very simple and by the numbers, but it's not bad. Like I would say it's simple but effective, but it doesn't
Yeah,
really go further, or it doesn't really ask anything more from the viewer. It's just it's kind of flat, but it's enjoyable.
That's
Like
true.
I had
Yeah,
fun with
I'm
it.
looking at it. Yeah, maybe I'm just I got to change my perspective a bit because I'm like analyzing this in the terms of man, it's not being this great anime, that it's not being this really in depth story. But sometimes an anime doesn't have to be that. Sometimes an anime can just be fun and just like characters who are at least
Well, you likable, like you
yeah,
root for them.
likable and you can differentiate them enough, right? Like you know who each of them are really. And this anime does that. So okay, I got to stop ragging on their in-depth character development. Let's talk about what I like about the characters because I do generally like a lot of these characters on a base level.
Yeah, yeah, they're serviceable. Anyways, the next character is Sayaka Miyata, and
Hmm.
Sayaka is Nozomi's best friend and rival. She's sort of her foil. She's more reserved, more of the cold and calculating type. But she's still very supportive of her teammates. Like she's not like a bitch or anything. She's just kind of cool, a little more measured. Um, Sayaka I think is the more interesting character because she,
Yeah, I agreed.
I guess above everyone else has the most, I guess, interesting backstory, interesting motivation. Well, maybe not interesting motivation, but like I guess her progression is. I rooted for her. I think a lot more than I rooted for
Yeah,
Nozomi. Um,
because she definitely has a clear goal going into it. I would say because she claims she wants to be the fastest, which is better than Kamanashi, who just wants to be the best. Miyata goes in saying she's the fastest out of anybody in all of like Western Japan, and then she has to prove herself about why she actually is the fastest
yeah,
um,
and beyond,
and most agile out of anybody. So
yeah, beyond that too, she has an interesting story because she used to be a champion at another sport already. She used to be a judo champion, and so
mhm.
her whole thing is she has sort of like this conflict with her father, which is kind of cliche. The father not approving of her daughter's
One
decisions.
of the cliches I listed on
Yeah.
that's top of my
Yep.
list. Disapproving parent does not approve of child sport.
Exactly. And so yeah, that's part of the anime, and it's predictable. But again, it stands out over everything else in this anime because everything else is just sort of for laughs and all that stuff. But Sayaka's story is the one that's the most, I guess, serious and
Yeah,
relatable, I would say. So yeah, she's got that component to it as well. And her special ability is that she gives herself a wedgie, and then she gets super speed.
that's if you have to explain it like that, we have to admit how the show explains it is that because they're all in swimsuits while this is happening, and when she's doing all her moves, it's building up all this energy, right? That's inside of her that the swimsuit kind of captures and holds as like sort of this not kinetic energy but potential energy, right? That's the other one.
Yeah.
Kinetic and
Uh huh.
potential, like potential energy, so that when she rides up her swimsuit and it releases her butt cheeks, it releases this force and this energy that propels her to be fast.
Is
Um,
that how it worked? I thought the way I perceived how it worked was that like basically she was um reducing friction. Basically, because like when she's like moving around, her legs are kind of like like there's friction between her legs and her underwear. So when
uh-huh.
she rides it up, there's no friction at all. That's why she can move super fast.
I think that was an element, but wasn't there an element of it being like built up about her releasing some energy that's already there?
I don't remember that. I mean,
Oh,
maybe.
well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know the mechanics
I guess the
of
point
butt
is
fighting.
there's an explanation for why it works.
Everything, yeah, that's if you watch the show, they will attempt to explain everything in really like like scientific terms about what's happening and why their moves are working the way they do, which is something that just gets more funny the more the anime goes on.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is like for me personally, like as the anime went on though, for me it became I guess less funny. Well, not like less funny, but like I felt like I was like in this world now where like yeah, okay,
You
that
were invested.
yeah, I was invested. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like that makes sense.
Yeah, that logic checks out.
Yeah, okay, it's a special move. I get it. And I have to I mean we got to applaud the anime for that, They could have just had that be a thing that happens, but they actually went the extra mile and like tried to like explain why these crazy ass moves work. And I don't know. I thought it
Yeah,
was Pretty cool.
I mean, in the second episode, I believe they're sitting in class and they're explaining the bone structure of the pelvis of Japanese
Yeah.
girls compared to like American
Hmm.
girls, and they talk, and so they really get in depth about all of their moves, which you got to give props to the anime for even attempting to
Yeah,
do that.
I wonder if that's true too, because like they said that. Okay, so they said of how like Western girls, aka like white chicks, like their butts are higher up because they have a front-facing pelvis or something like that. And then like Asian girls have like a rear-facing pelvis, which is why their butts hang lower. Is that real? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm gonna trust this anime.
You know
Seems like
what?
a reliable source. I mean,
I'm gonna source this. Yep, you're right. Uh,
if the anime says it, I'm sure it's true.
yeah. The other thing about Sayaka that I really liked was that her character moments are, I think they get particularly good when they involve the rest of the team. There's some like
Mm.
really endearing moments in here, like, so Sayaka has some like insecurities, like she's insecure about her own ability sometimes, about her sociability, and she can even be insecure about like her body type because she's, I guess, like a little flatter than the other girls. But the best, I think, the most touching moments in this anime occur when like her teammates are basically there to reassure her and like support her and stuff. So like there's this
Yeah.
scene in where like they're exploring a city and like she's trying to like recommend to her friends to like explore like a temple with her or something. But, like she keeps getting like, she keeps getting overshadowed by these other more outgoing girls. So in the end, she just kind of gives up and is like, okay, well, I guess I got to explore the city on my own. And then she's sitting there on a bench, and then the rest of her team show up and they're like, hey, where'd you go? We wanted to hang out with you. And I'm like, ah, that's so sweet. This is
Yeah,
yeah.
that was probably one of my favorite moments in the show, and just I think that it shows how the show. I think team interactions trump individual moments. Like there's not a lot of like individual moments like that, but like when the team is kind of working together and figuring out, at first in the beginning of anime how to work as a team, and then just kind of functioning as a team. I think those moments are really strong, which leads propels to the finale, which is more team based battles more than
Mhm.
anything.
Yes, and I think that this anime does a pretty good job of sort of establishing a sense of camaraderie between all the teammates, and I really like that. That's my like one of my favorite parts about sports animes is like watching a team basically come together and work together and stuff, which is really
Yeah, and
cool.
it's not even. What's interesting, it was like cause I thought the show was really going to go a different way, because it starts off with these girls, these newbies recruits who are like entering this new training ability to do that, and they're in classes with a ton of higher ranked girls, right, who claim to be more powerful than them, and they kind of come across as really mean at first, but after a few episodes, that really quickly melts away, and like they're all part of their high school together. And it's like it's all basically one team and not just like factions
Mhm.
within the school,
Yeah.
which was an interesting way to do things. Like every battle that they have, that starts with an opponent, usually, even though someone's beaten at the end, they usually always end with, "This was really fun. Like, let's do this again sometime. Friendship."
Mhm. Yeah, and I just want to make a small correction because it's not a high school. It's actually a school for Keijo, like a specific
Yeah,
school for Keijo. And
right.
yeah, so there's this philosophy in the sport itself, and it's like they call it only land, and it means like any conflicts you have with another girl only exist when you're competing with them. But when you're off the land, everyone's like really friendly with each other, and you're supposed to be really like a good sport. Like there's good sportsmanship in this anime overall. That's
Yeah.
always good to see. So yeah, speaking of like team dynamics, we go on to the next character, who is my favorite of the crew. Her name is Kazana Aoba,
Hmm.
and she's a very quiet and shy girl, and she's got like this ponytail that moves like a cat's tail whenever she gets a bit riled up. And her teammates help bring out the best in her by assuring her that like it's okay for her to talk because she's really insecure about her accent, but people are like, yeah, we don't care. And she's like, okay. So she kind of, thanks to her team, she kind of brings out the best in herself and like her voice, and she really grows as a character. She becomes sort of like this very strategic and tactical leader type. So during the team matches, she's like on top of her game. She's like telling people what to do. She's the one directing the people and leading all the strategies. And
Hmm.
that's what I really like about her character. She brings that element to the show. And like I said, I love team elements, team dynamics in sports animes. And whenever she's on the screen, that stuff happens. So that's what I like.
I especially love sports and team animes when each person has like a role, like, and has like a very specific role, and like they each make up like a different dynamic of it. And hers is definitely the strategist, the more Sokka level character, more
Hmm.
so than a lot of things. And I think her special move is probably, I think, is just ridiculously awesome. And it's just like one where like after like everyone's explaining their special powers are like rooted in some sort of like, you know, reasoning and like logic, like or at least attempting to. Hers is just completely mumbo jumbo mystical in my opinion.
Yeah.
And hers is like she her special ability is called Scanning Hand. And Scanning Hand is just this ability where if she touches another girl's butt, she automatically knows um
Er,
you know, their fighting styles and their moves and like what they would do in battles and stuff.
Yeah, and it's I like her ability a lot because pretty much everyone else's ability is rooted in some kind of like physical prowess. Hers is the only one that's like kind of like a strategic ability in a way because yeah, she could touch girls' butts and then she gains their abilities, but she also learns everything about them. So she knows how to like counter them essentially and,
Mhm.
and to use specific abilities that will trump her opponent. And so yeah, that combined with her tactical ability means that whenever she's in a match, she just she approaches
She
things.
knows.
Yeah, so like usually matches end up with like, oh, I'm gonna hit her faster or stronger. Whereas her approach is more interesting in that there's a bit more thought to it, a bit more a tactical approach, which I really appreciate. So yeah,
Yeah,
she is my favorito. Favorito.
I agree with that. So that's so okay. So far on this team, we have strength and passion in our main character. We have speed in Miyata. We have strategy with Kazane Aoba. Now, what is our fourth person in this on our merry band of Keiju players?
So the fourth person, her name is Non Toyoguchi, and she's a klutzy girl. She's from the countryside, and her special power is that she has an extremely soft butt, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's what makes me so sad. It's like after three pillars of just like really cool, you know, dynamics of a team, you have a character who doesn't really do a whole lot with their power, which is like her butt is so soft that it can absorb attacks like really well. Like someone attacks her with a main attack, if she's positioned in the right way, then she absorbs the shock of it and everything's fine just because her butt is so
Yeah,
soft.
she can absorb it and like basically reflect it. Like that's basically how she wins her games. Is she just sticks her butt out, someone attacks her, and then the other person just gets knocked out of the ring automatically. So
Yeah,
she's her primary role in the show is just comedic relief. She's the klutz, so she does weird things, and everyone's like, well, "What are you doing? Why did you trip? Or your outfit's on backwards?" And
yep.
yeah, it's a shame. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying because it is a shame because like now that we have like these four characters with potentially interesting dynamics and stuff, and like you want to see them work together as a team. And what's interesting, what the show does, at least in this first season, is that you don't really have them as a team at the end a whole lot. You have them paired with other people. You have them kind of split up doing their own thing,
That's true. Yeah,
paired with other elite class
yeah.
players, which
Uh
is
huh. That's a good point. I was just gonna mention that too. Is yeah, we don't see these four on a team together on the actual land fighting together as a team. And I would have really liked to see that. But
yeah, because you
yeah,
have them training together, and you have them learn. Especially there's like episode 2 or 3, or I think yeah 2 or 3 is them trying to like suss out each other's dynamics, and then they start working together as a team really well. But then their final matches to advance to the elite class does not have them working as a team. It has them
mhm,
working individually by themselves.
yeah, and that's for narrative purpose. Because at the end it's mostly just team matches, so you need to have like episodes for each character basically, and then obviously you
Yeah.
have to end off with the main character. And so if they were all on the same team, that means they'd all be in the same match, and then what would you do before that? Anyways, yeah. But yeah, I wish that we would have seen that. And then there's a whole cast of other characters with their own interesting abilities and quirks and personalities, which we won't get
Huh.
into, but they're very
Yeah, we
colorful.
don't, but they are. But just to give you like a taste, like some of them, we don't have to go into the characters themselves, but some of their specialty moves, like there's a girl whose like butt has like a mind of its own,
Mm.
and she
Yeah.
names it Cerberus, and
Yeah.
she just kind of sits there and she lets the butt do all the work. There's another speed person who's like really fast. There is one that stuck out with me more is like the one someone from the enemy team. She's like uses like magic as like her special
Yeah, so
skill.
she like believes in fairies, and she believes that the fairies give her butt special powers,
Yeah,
and then her butt gets special powers. That's it. So her power is belief.
and
Like
they
it's like
yeah,
the secret or something.
because every character knows, like every character comments about it. Like two separate characters in different locations who had no talking or interaction with each other automatically knew that, man, you figured out her power is all psychological. It's fake. She just believes in the fact that her butt is magic, so her butt is now magic.
Yeah. So even the magic parts get explanations pretty much right off the bat.
Yeah.
Um.
So yeah, there's a lot of characters in the show. A lot of that it at least got me excited. Like as it went on, like as new characters were introduced,
Mhm.
we're just like, man, what's their quirk gonna be?
Yeah.
Like this could be kind of interesting. This could be cool. Like what are they gonna do next?
Yeah, and I think what this anime does a really good job of is establishing a character in a very short amount of time. So within an episode, you will learn about a character's personality, their quirks, their special powers, their backstory sometimes, their motivation, and that's it. Like you'll pretty much know everything about everything there is to know this about this character, like leading up to a match and during a match. So that was really cool because I like seeing interesting opponents, and
Yeah.
that really kind of like each fight in this anime felt fresh. Like it didn't seem like they're kind of redoing the same thing over and over again because there is some special quirk or special power involved. So that's a
Right.
good thing. So yeah, I guess we should talk about Keijo itself and how it plays out in the anime.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
the Keijo matches, they're called races for some reason, which is weird because they don't
There's
actually
no
race.
racing done in this anime.
No.
I was outraged. I was shocked. I felt lied to because I felt like, oh, they're gonna be racing like while this is happening. This is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But no races take place.
Yeah.
That is my main criticism of this anime.
Yeah, it's just weird why they call it that. They could have called it like a match or something, but I
Yeah.
don't know. Anyways, yeah. So Keijo, it's also a gambling sport. So people, I guess, bet on girls, and that's how these girls get their money or something. And yeah,
Like every episode will start off with just like before there was only horses, like cars, like naming.
yeah, basically actual
what are the
races,
dogs.
actual races.
Yeah.
And then they mention Keijo, which is not a race
Yeah,
at all.
but now there's a new sport out there
Yeah.
using women to like fight each other,
Mhm.
and it shows these stadiums that are just packed with people. Like this has to be one of the most popular sport.
Yes, it definitely is. Because pretty much every, even like I think they call it. So at the end, there's like a tournament between the two schools, and I guess these are the only two schools. But like, yeah, just these aren't even pros yet. These are students, and they're already packing stadiums, which is crazy. So, anyways, yeah. So as we were mentioning before, most of the entertainment and the humor comes from the ridiculous made-up moves that involve the boobs and the butt. And from such a simple concept, they really stretch it to its limits with all this like the crazy ass things they have to do. And it's animated in such a way that it's like really intense, like just like crazy energy beams flying sometimes, and like this one girl's butt is like a shadowy wolf figure, and like the hits feel really
Yeah.
like real. Whenever someone gets smacked in the face with a butt, it's like you're watching any other fighting shonen anime. It's just that, but with boobs and butts. So
And yeah, I can't believe that. I think out of anyone, like this was the most. A lot of these matches were exciting. Like we previous episodes, we reviewed Yuri on Ice, we reviewed Chihara Faru, and we reviewed Ping Pong. I think Ping Pong, can challenge it in terms of energetic matches and stuff. But I think this blows Chihara Faru's animation style of like their matches and blows like Yuri on Ice's like matches basically out of the water. Because these are like exciting. They're extreme. They're well animated.
Yeah.
I mean,
they did it's solid.
for the most part. There's some moments I would say like in the actual fighting when someone's really fast that they're just like throwing their butt like really fast at each other where you can't really see what's happening. And that part is not as good as overall, but there's enough good parts in the animation in their fights to be like, this is actually really cool.
Yeah, they'll use your typical fighting anime techniques where like for example, like in Dragon Ball Z, like someone's like punching really fast and it's basically just like a blur of movement. And they'll do the same thing but with butts. And like I said, there's energy beams where like one force meets another extreme force and like they collide and there's like an explosion. That'll happen in this anime too, but with boobs and butts.
But with boobs and
Yeah.
butts, you gotta like boobs and butts.
Yeah,
To like this anime.
That's really the anime's only, I guess, standout feature is the fact that it's boobs and butts. And but yeah, I mean the fights are pretty good. There's a good dialogue between the competitors. I know in our last review, I was talking of Chihayafura, I was talking about how I like a dialogue between the opponent and our protagonist, and there's a lot of that in this anime because it's like I said, it's by the numbers, but it's effective. It's like, you know, basically the good guys will be up against a corner, and then the good guy will rethink their strategy, and then the good guy will put up the bad guy against a corner, and then maybe the bad guy will react in a different way. So it's kind of like a action reaction that happens between the fights, and it's very energetic and dynamic, and yeah, I had fun watching these things.
Yeah, I did too. But it's like my only problem with that. It's just like because I love those moments too, but I can't help but always think of like the world around the characters while this is happening. Because there's a lot of moments during matches where players are just kind of standing off and like looking at each other because as they're thinking and they're having like these really long, like minute long, thought bubbles in their mind where they're just standing there, and I can't help but think, wow. This would be a boring sport to watch, like a lot of the time.
Mhm.
So imagine, because like if you're in the audience while this is happening, you're just kind of watching these characters just like stand around and like
Strategizing,
talk to
and
each
stuff,
other. Yeah, and you can't hear a single word they're saying, I imagine.
yeah.
So it's like, what are you watching for that long? So that's funny to me.
Yeah, and that's another typical staple of a fighting anime is in the middle of a fight, someone will monologue or someone will talk to an ally and talk about their strategy, and the enemy will just let them.
Yeah.
So
that's really hard to do for me in an anime where you have so many people watching.
mhm. Yeah,
Like,
it requires suspension of disbelief to that level as well, to where you're like, yeah, people will be willing to like watch it.
and if that's like my biggest problem with it, like this is an anime about girls fighting with their boobs and butts, but it's like this doesn't seem too logical.
I
They're
wouldn't
just
watch
standing
this.
around there.
Yeah.
Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, so like I said, there's a huge cast of characters. So there's some good antagonists here. There's some good baddies that they fight. It's kind of like a villain of the day anime in a way. Each episode presents itself with, one or a few villains that they have to fight with their own strategies and stuff, and I like that.
Yeah.
And they're pretty effective in introducing them as challenges and like introducing solutions to them. Although usually the fights end with, like I said, I'm just gonna hit her harder or hit her faster or something.
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, she got him. She hit her harder.
Yeah, that's it.
Or it's like, and it's one of the. I wouldn't say this is a cliche. Maybe it is a cliche, but when the bad guy is totally beating up the main character, your hero, like a lot,
Mhm.
and she's getting all these good hits in, but she's still standing, and the hero delivers like one hit, and it's like, oh, they're winning now.
Yeah,
Like they those hit knocked them off.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that happens a lot in here, and like I said, that's why I liked Kazana Aoba's character, because she actually had some thought into her fights, which I really appreciated, and I liked watching her. And in terms of like the team aspect of it, like I said, good camaraderie. There were team matches to it in this anime, some good tactical elements, and
Everything like that. It's good team. I agree with you there. Sorry for interrupting.
No, that's all good. And the animation, like we said, is pretty solid. They do take some shortcuts, but nothing to be unexpected in an anime where it's mostly fighting, pretty much. And in terms of the plot and the themes, like we said before, it's pretty by the numbers. The first half of the series is the lead up to these matches where the main characters can move up a rank, so they fight like the elite class. And then the second half is about fighting the other school and training up to that point.
That's like the show's biggest strength, but also its biggest weakness to me, like in my opinion, because it's a sports anime to like a fault. Like it follows just there's nothing new to it. Like we do a podcast about sports animes. Like this is exactly the type of thing that we should watch, because it's like everything that happens isn't really a surprise. Like I want to go down my list of all the sports cliches that you will see. If you think of any others, just let me know.
Okay, let's go.
I don't have a whole. There's to name a few. There's the disapproving parent who comes around when they see their kid play. There's a seemingly useless training technique that actually pays off.
Yes.
There is a player with a special gift that makes them like one of the best players around. There's a tough teacher who seems really mean, but actually has a heart of gold. It has normally a band of misfits becoming a team, and then it also has the rivalry with another school or another Keijo academy and stuff.
Yep.
And then along with them overcoming being beaten by an opponent after being like horribly beaten by just deciding to be stronger.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see if I can think of any. No, I think you've hit all the notes there. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but
Yeah. So you won't see anything new out of this,
No.
but you will at least enjoy it, I guess, because it is fun. It is overall fun time to watch.
yeah. And in terms of the themes, I don't know. What do you think the theme of the show is? Just doing what you love, I guess, because you love it. There is a quote here. I think this quote is the theme of the show. So this is from one of the characters, not the main characters, but she's one of the allies. She says, "Sensei always said, you won't last if all you want to do is win. You need to do it for your family or for your dreams. You need a reason. That reason was my friends." And I think, yeah, it's basically just like you need a reason to win. And you can see the reasons for winning. As simple as I want to do this for money, to as complex as I do this because I'm accepted when I do this kind of thing. And we see various reasons as we go through the show, but nothing really like hard hitting or emotional. Just
I imagine we would have gotten a stronger theme if there was more episodes to this. If this didn't feel like a setup to some grand story, which is unfortunate because the manga itself, I believe it's not going anymore. It's ending.
it canceled. It was canceled.
It was canceled,
Yeah.
And I was talking to a friend just because like this anime helped tank the tape the manga sales itself. It's because this one didn't, I guess, sell very well.
So
That
yeah, I was reading a report by My Anime News Network, and the author Soriyomi actually, I think he debunked those rumors about it not selling well. He didn't give any specific figures, but he says, like from his own words, the reason that it was canceled was because of his quote own lack of skill and the circumstances between him and the publisher. So
well, yeah.
I mean, I guess it was just some like, I guess there were just some problems between him and his publisher, and I guess that would stem from, I guess, bad sales though. Like if your thing isn't doing too well, I can't imagine a publisher would want to continue backing you. But that's just what from his words. I believe,
Which is yeah. Go ahead.
No, I mean, like I think you mentioned that this was like one of the most watched animes in like 9 states or something like that. Did you say that?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like that. I mean, I
it
guess
was popular for like a bit, but I
Mhm.
guess it didn't like just normally just sell.
Yeah, in
Like,
terms
I
of
guess that's probably, like
sales.
no one buys merchandise,
Mhm.
which I don't know which merchandise because probably no one wants to go to the store and buy a bunch of scantily clad figurines.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's-
that's a lie. People do that. That's fine. If you do that, good on you. I'm sure that's fine.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. It's kind of hard to market. I mean, really, I guess you could sell bikinis. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
Asian bikinis.
Yeah, because the story sets up like this is like their introductory paragraph to like their grand story of actually being professional Keiju players,
Yeah,
and it's kind of sad unless we read the manga, which I don't think I'm going to do.
me neither. I'll probably read the last chapter, but unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be a second season of this anime.
Yeah,
And
it isn't going to be. So it's sad that we didn't get to see like a complete story or like to see what kind of story that they were actually trying to tell.
yeah. And I guess we'll just move into the conclusion. There's really not much to say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just what was your? I'm curious and stuff. What was your favorite attack? Did you have a favorite attack?
I like, well, you know me, like my favorite is Kazana, so I like her scanning hand ability.
Yeah,
Because she touches butts and knows everything about people.
yeah.
What about yours?
I
Who's
like
your favorite character?
One,
And like of the team, of the 4.
I like Kazane as well.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, I thought she was interesting. I
Good pick.
liked her interaction with the main character very well. Kominashi, is that her name?
Nozomi, yeah, Nozomi
Yeah,
Kamanashi.
Kaminashi.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did like my favorite individual character moment was Miyata's when trying to speak up to talk to her friends so that they can go uh around everywhere. So I like her a lot. But my favorite like move itself is the one that was like the Gate of Bootylon.
Oh yeah.
Because and the reason I like that is
uh,
because that's a direct riff off Fate Zero, which is one of my favorite animes.
oh okay.
Because like there's in that anime these characters have like these special moves, and like one of the character Gilgamesh has this ability to like Gates of like Babylon, believe it's called, where he like can summon swords from like different portals from like a vast vault, and it's animated the exact same way as this anime.
Really?
But in this anime, it's just it's obviously all these portals open up and just butts fly out, and like butts are in there and stuff. So that's one of my favorites.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, there's another reference to Attack on Titan. This one,
Yeah.
her power is
one of the
Attack on Titan. Ha ha.
But Attack on Titan, and it's animated in the way with like the wall and stuff.
Yeah, so that's fun.
I was trying to ask my friend if there was any other references. Like those were the two big ones, but it's like I don't think he named another one, and I didn't see any other ones to any other animes
Right.
that they could have referenced.
Yeah, those were the ones that are, I guess, popular enough around the time this was released to reference. So yeah,
So I guess we can move to a wrap up.
To wrap up, I give this anime a 2 out of 5. It's like I said, it's simple but effective, but it also doesn't go. It also just it doesn't really go. It doesn't do anything extraordinarily well. It does things serviceable. It's fun. It's entertaining, and I like it. But I'm not gonna watch it again. It's really the only quirk. The only outstanding thing is the sport itself, the boobs and the butts. And in terms of a show, it's I mean I don't really know what I expected. I didn't really expect more from this. I had fun though. So yeah. What about you, Kobe?
Yeah, which is this is one of those moments. I think we've kind of been in. I guess not in ping pong. We agreed on, but the other two we didn't agree on. But this one, I think we're in agreement again on. I give it a 2 out of. I would say 2 out of 5. I liked it. I don't think I would like watch it again. I have no interest to really watch it again. But it is fun. It's very easy to watch, and it's oftentimes very exciting, and the animation is kind of cool. There's worse animes out there by far.
Yes,
like this is very serviceable. This does everything on an average level, but just with boobs and butts.
Yes, and if you're keeping track, yes, I do think this is a better sports anime than Chihaya Furu.
That is a true Chihara. I don't want to get into this. This is not a podcast about Chihara Furu. This is a podcast.
I know. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not great. It's okay. And
yeah, we give it our seal of mediocrity.
Yes.
Mediocrity is like sounds like it's a little bad because it's not mediocre. It's average. It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to defend. It's like it's just hard to find like the middle ground.
Yeah, it's very meh. Yeah, it's like well, like positive. Positive meh.
I wouldn't positive meh. It's like the best way. I wouldn't talk bad about it. It's like
I wouldn't either.
I don't know. It's like pepper jack cheese.
Out
of like all the cheeses.
I like pepper jack.
But it's like, do you love it? Like, do you order pepper jack normally?
Yeah. What else do you order? What do you order?
I like provolone.
See, I think provolone is more average than pepper jack.
All right, my cheese analogy was a bad one, but trying to think of something that's just spectacularly in the middle of like a bunch of things.
I don't know, tuna sandwich.
I love tuna sandwiches, sir.
I really like tuna sandwiches too. So that's bad. Oh, fuck it. It's all right. That's all you gotta know.
Yeah, it's all right. See, and putting thought into what type of averageness this is more thought than you can put into the show itself.
That's great. That's a great way to put it, and a great way to end it.
I agree.
So yeah, let's talk about our plugs. We've got a Facebook, we've got a Twitter, and a website. You can find it all. It's the Nerd Blaze. The website is nerdblaze.com, and our website is updated and looking fly. So hopefully we can get the podcast up there soon. By the time you listen to this, it's probably up there already. And
follow us. Follow us on iTunes. It's where a lot of these will, if you're just stumbling upon this on iTunes, just rate and review us because that does really well for podcasts.
Oh my god, yeah.
And we'll do more stuff. We're just getting started. You might be able to sense that we're getting better. We're improving. I think we're getting better every single one. We're like a sports anime ourselves in a sense because we're growing and improving.
There should be a sports anime about us,
about podcasting,
about making sports anime podcast. Holy crap,
man, we're geniuses.
Write that down.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks for listening, guys. See you later.